The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse and has since hurt countless others.
Buckingham Palace has never been a stranger to shocking revelations, but this time the world has been left completely speechless. In an unexpected turn of events, King Charles stunned the public by offering a heartfelt apology to Princess Diana's sons. The very act of apology was astonishing, but what made it even more remarkable was the reaction of Prince William and Prince Harry. Their response was something no one saw coming. Now, the biggest question is, why has King Charles chosen to apologize after more than 30 years of Diana's tragic death? And what ripple effect could this have on the monarchy's future? Stay with us as we dive deep into the truth behind King Charles's extraordinary apology and the shocking betrayals linked to Camilla that the palace tried to keep hidden. According to royal insiders, the apology was made during a high-profile royal event attended by dignitaries and key figures. Many believe this public admission was directly connected to explosive revelations surrounding Camilla's long-standing betrayal. But make no mistake, this betrayal isn't something recent. It stretches back decades, and some say it still continues to this very day. The first cracks appeared in 1986, when reports surfaced that Charles had rekindled his romance with Camilla while still married to Princess Diana. Though whispers of infidelity had always floated around, this revelation confirmed Diana's worst fears that her marriage had been compromised from within. And as history would show, this betrayal was not a fleeting rumor, but the start of a scandal that would shadow the royal family for decades. In 1994, Charles himself admitted during his infamous television interview with Jonathan Dimbleby that he had been unfaithful, his words claiming he had remained loyal only until his marriage became irretrievably broken down, all but confirmed Camilla as the other woman. For Diana, this was a devastating blow, and for the public, it shattered the fairy tale image of the royal couple. And then came the scandal that rocked the monarchy. What the press labeled Camillagate or Tampongate in 1989. An intimate phone call between Charles and Camilla was secretly recorded, only to be leaked to the press in 1993. The explicit transcript painted a shocking picture not of mere friendship, but of an emotional intimacy that left Diana humiliated before the entire world. It was in 1995 that Diana herself addressed this betrayal during her legendary BBC Panorama interview, where she delivered the now iconic line, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." With one sentence, she exposed the painful truth that Camilla was not a background figure, but a central force in the collapse of her marriage. But this was only the beginning. Just days before her grand wedding, Diana made a discovery that shattered her heart. She found out that Charles had given Camilla a bracelet as a gift. That revelation left her in shock. For a brief moment, she even questioned whether she should go through with the marriage at all. Yet, under the immense weight of royal expectations, she felt trapped. Later, Diana would describe her wedding day not as the happiest of her life, but as the worst day of my life. While the world celebrated the union with cheers and joy, Diana walked into the palace feeling betrayed and completely alone. And what followed was even more heartbreaking. Soon after the marriage, she realized that Charles's relationship with Camilla had never truly ended. Like every bride, Diana expected loyalty, but instead, she was forced to live with the truth that her husband's heart belonged to someone else. By the mid-1980s, Charles and Camilla had rekindled their affair in full force. The betrayal grew unbearable, and in 1989, Diana confronted Camilla face to face. "I know what's going on," she told her. But Charles showed no signs of guilt or shame. For Diana, the emotional neglect was suffocating. Her suffering quickly spiraled into physical and mental torment. She battled depression, bulimia, and self-harm. Instead of receiving love and support, she was met with cold silence from Charles. During her 1995 Panorama interview, she openly shared how she was abandoned during her darkest struggles. There was no help, no one to turn to, she said. Those words revealed the depth of the loneliness she carried. Inside the walls of Buckingham Palace, the humiliation didn't stop there. In 1992, Diana's private phone conversations with her friend James Gilby were leaked, an incident the press labelled Squidgegate. The following year, the explosive Camillagate tapes emerged, confirming to the world what Diana had endured all along. By December 1992, Prime Minister John Major announced Charles and Diana's separation. Once again, Diana was left to face the storm alone. The palace carefully managed the narrative, painting her as unstable, while Charles was framed as the victim of a difficult wife. For Diana, it was betrayal not just from her husband, but from the entire institution she had devoted herself to. When the divorce was finalized in August 1996, it brought no peace. Diana received a large settlement, but she was stripped of her Royal Highness title and most of her duties. After years of service, she was cast aside. Meanwhile, Charles was finally free to continue with Camilla openly. Diana, on the other hand, had to rebuild her life from scratch, and yet, despite the palace's attempts to diminish her, Diana refused to fade into silence. Through her charity work and compassion, she became more beloved than ever. She embraced AIDS patients when fear ruled the world, touched the lives of leprosy victims, and bravely walked through a minefield in Angola to raise awareness. She redefined what it meant to be royal, not through duty, but through humanity. But her growing global influence only widened the gap between her and the monarchy. Diana's popularity overshadowed Charles, who was preparing for his future as king. For her, this meant even greater isolation and mistrust. Then came the tragedy that shocked the world. On August 31st, 1997, Diana's life was cut short in a Paris car crash alongside Dodi Fayed. Investigations in both France and the UK declared it an accident caused by the driver's intoxication and relentless paparazzi pursuit. Charles wasn't directly blamed, but many believed his cold neglect had set Diana on this painful path. And now, decades later, King Charles's apology is raising a haunting question. Can words spoken today heal wounds from the past? If reports are true, this apology would be unlike anything in royal history. Monarchs almost never admit mistakes, least of all to their own children. Prince Harry has long demanded accountability, even writing in his memoir Spare that his father ignored his pain in favor of protecting the crown. An apology, therefore, would mean breaking centuries of royal silence. For Prince William, who has always upheld the monarchy's dignity with quiet restraint, accepting such an apology would be a delicate balancing act. He would need to weigh his personal emotions against his duty as the future king. For Harry, however, words alone may never be enough. He has said countless times that all he ever wanted was not just words, but genuine change, respect, honesty, and true accountability. But the apology also reopens the wound that has never truly healed, Diana's suffering. Both brothers witnessed the sadness in their mother's eyes, and they know Camilla's presence was at the center of it all. Today, Camilla stands as queen beside Charles, making forgiveness far more complicated. And yet, William and Harry are now fathers themselves. Both often speak of keeping Diana's memory alive for their children. William honors her through stories to George, Charlotte, and Louis. Harry even gave his daughter the name Lilibet Diana. For them, forgiveness may not be about forgetting the past, but about ensuring their children never experience the same pain. Princess Diana's legacy is their guiding light. She taught the world that compassion is power, that even in the coldest palace, humanity must come first. More than 30 years after her passing, her memory continues to inspire millions. And perhaps King Charles's apology is not just about regret, but about finally acknowledging the woman whose presence still defines the royal family. Princess Diana's compassion was not just admired, it changed the world. One of her most powerful contributions came through her campaign against landmines. Her courage in walking through a cleared minefield in Angola became an unforgettable image, a symbol of hope, though she tragically passed before the Ottawa Treaty was signed. Many leaders admitted it was Diana's voice that gave the movement its unstoppable push. Her actions didn't just inspire policy, they saved lives. But Diana's kindness was never limited to one cause. She cared deeply for the homeless, especially vulnerable young people. She worked closely with organizations like Centrepoint, personally visiting shelters, speaking directly to the youth, and giving them hope for the future. She didn't just lend her name to charities, she gave her time, her warmth, and her presence. For her, homelessness wasn't an issue to ignore. It was a crisis demanding compassion. Another way Diana broke barriers was through her connection with ordinary people. Royals were known to keep their distance, but Diana did the opposite. She hugged children, knelt down to meet people at eye level, and showed her emotions openly. These simple acts of humanity made her relatable. She wasn't just admired from afar, she was loved, truly loved, by millions who called her the people's princess. Her compassion stretched across generations. She comforted the sick, held the hands of the dying, and gave time to those society had forgotten. People who met her often said the same thing. Diana made them feel seen, valued, and loved even in their darkest hours. Today, her legacy lives on through her sons and Princess Catherine. Prince William followed her footsteps with Centrepoint, becoming a patron in 2005. He even slept on the streets one night to understand the struggles of the homeless, just as his mother had once done. That act proved Diana's empathy continues to guide him. Prince Harry carried on her fight against landmines. In 2019, he retraced her steps in Angola, walking through the same fields his mother once crossed, alongside the Halo Trust. It was a moment that echoed her courage and reminded the world of the path she paved together. William and Harry also launched the Heads Together campaign in 2016, breaking the silence around mental health. By speaking openly about their own struggles, they carried forward Diana's bravery in addressing topics most people were too afraid to discuss. Harry also honored his mother's HIV/AIDS work by taking public HIV tests to fight stigma and by supporting children through his charity, Centrebell, in Southern Africa. Even Princess Catherine, though she never met Diana, reflects her influence. Through her work with children and mental health, especially via the Royal Foundation's Centre for Early Childhood, Catherine continues Diana's belief that children deserve love, care, and stability to thrive. In her, Diana's compassion finds a modern voice. In 2021, William and Harry came together to unveil a statue of their mother at Kensington Palace. That statue now stands as a permanent reminder not just of her beauty and grace, but of her global impact. Harry has also honored his mother's vision of giving dignity to those overlooked by founding the Invictus Games, a platform for wounded servicemen and women to showcase strength and resilience. William, meanwhile, has expanded his mother's legacy on mental health by focusing on the trauma faced by frontline workers and emergency responders. Both brothers, along with Catherine, have ensured that Diana's humanitarian spirit lives on for future generations. And now, with King Charles's reported apology, the question lingers: could this finally change the story? Could an apology, something so rare in royal history, heal decades of silence, betrayal, and heartbreak? Or will it simply be seen as too little, too late? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think King Charles's apology to William and Harry will truly change anything? Share your opinions with us in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because Diana's legacy is more than history, it's alive, carried on by her sons. And it will continue to shape the royal family for generations to come.